Heidi-ho neighbors, Radio Goji here, and welcome to another toy review. And today I'm going to be continuing my look at the Lupinranger vs. Patranger VS Vehicle series with the deluxe Scissor Dial Fighter and Blade Dial Fighter. These are the latest auxiliary mech that has been shown in the show and also released, and seeing as they are Dial Fighters, they are a major upgrade for the Lupinrangers, but not so much the Patrangers. In fact, oddly enough, the Patrangers don't have an equivalent power-up this time around, which is kind of odd, because we had Cyclone and Biker. They were kind of released and shown around the same time. And then we have this, which was very much on its own. And then we have another pair coming out in the middle of May. The Crane Trigger Machine, I think the Magic Dial Fighter are coming out around the same time. But maybe after those two, there'll be a major upgrade for the Patrangers that the Lupinrangers won't get. Who knows? Of course, around that time, maybe the Extra Ranger will be showing up, and that'll throw all that under the bus. But who knows where this is going to go. This came out, I think, a couple weeks ago as of this recording. I did pre-order it. I got it, around the same time everyone else has. In fact, everyone else has already done their videos. I mean, I say everyone else like I'm part of that community, but I'm really not. I just, what happens with me, I just get these things, and I sit on them for like a couple of weeks before I actually do a video. But that's the box. Standard box fare, very similar to all the others, just basically saying, how many different ways can you say, this is what it looks like, and you can use it with the VS changer, and also use it to modify your robot. But that's just the box. So let's go ahead and look at the toy itself, which is this. Just for clarity, the bottom, bigger one is the Scissors Dial Fighter, and the top one is the Blade Dial Fighter. Even on the show, their normal mode is with these guys, kind of with the blade kind of piggybacked on top of the scissors. It actually clips in via the code bar at the bottom. In fact, the code bars are different, so if you put these into the VS changer, which again I do not have and can't show off, it will do different noises for each one. But that's basically how they do. They just clip on each other, and also with the way that the dials are and the size of the blade, there's kind of like a dual dial thing going on. Like you have the scissors dial, the Scissors Dial Fighter dial, and that'll just do whatever. Unhinge whatever mechanism for the attack mode. But for the Blade one, because it's so small, it doesn't really have any kind of mechanics they could have put in there. So the dial doesn't really do anything on its own. It just acts as a pass-through. As you can see, the little hexagonal sort of... the word I keep thinking of is bolt, even though I know that's not the right thing. But that goes into the little hexagonal hole on the top of this one here. And... you clip it on like that, it'll act as a pass-through, and it'll manipulate the scissors one on the bottom. Looks really cool, in my opinion. It's probably the better looking one of any of the other Dial Fighters that I've and like I said, I did like the one I said was my favorite was the Red Dial Fighter, but this looks so much cooler. You got like this kind of stealth bomber sort of thing going on. Well, sort of. I don't know if stealth bombers really look like this anymore, but it's still kind of the same sort of aesthetic, I guess you could say. Now, to deploy the attack mode, you do separate them. For the blade, you basically just take the silver parts of the wings and just swing them forward, and they'll come together at the front. So basically, you're turning it from basically a shorter, wider plane and turning it into a longer, narrower plane with blades on the front. And then for the scissors, you do use the dial to let go of this assembly down here. Put that into place, and then this will swing forward, as will the scissor blades. And the scissor blades even have like little scissor handles on them, so if you close them up, they look like scissors, which makes sense because it's the Scissors Dial Fighter. But yeah, that's a really neat attack mode, and in the show, they will, they'll attack the bad guy in tandem like this, and they will, do the scissor motion. Both of them actually will. do the scissor motion. You have to do it manually, unfortunately. There's no way that they can. I mean, obviously, there's no way that you can do that with the smaller one. But the scissors fighter, there's no like button you can push to you know, do the scissors motion on the blade. You actually have to do that manually, which kind of sucks. But it's still a really cool looking attack mode, I gotta say. But as you might know, because this is an auxiliary mech, or as you might have figured out, I should say, it does form an alternate arm for Lupinranger here. And we're just going to set him back here while we prepare our good friend Lupinranger for his new armament. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the scissor blades in the front. We're going to bring them together. This whole part will swing backward like this, and then twist thusly. And then the blade dial fighter in its attack mode, that's just all you need for that. So for Lupinranger, bring him forward here, we're going to take off the yellow arm, attach the, by the obvious joint there, we're going to attach the scissors, and then the blade is going to attach to the right arm. Blech. Basically, it would be held in the right fist by this peg here. So it is making a sword. And this is the combination. It is, if I can zoom up a little bit here, sorry about that, Lupinranger Knight. And actually, since the lighting is better than in the last video, you can actually see his face. I'm doing this to make up for my shortcomings in the last video. That's a much better look at his face now that it's actually... My tiny window is letting natural light through because I'm doing this earlier in the day. Or rather about the same time, just the sun's not going down quite as early. That's just how summer works, or spring, or whatever it is now. It's spring now. I digress. So, Lupinranger Knight looks really, really, really cool. It's probably the most complicated of the transformations and combinations, which is part of the reason why I like it so much. But there's even like little details here and there, like if you bring the arm down and get the shield out of the way, it does kind of have like a little hand sort of pattern here. Looks like something holding the, maybe like holding the shield like this at this angle. I mean, it shows it the same angle on the back too, but it's whatever. But it kind of goes under the same sort of theme that I've been seeing in a lot of these, like the blue fighter. You can see there's an obvious fist holding onto the sword right now, but you know, the pink trigger machine had the fist holding onto the baton. The biker trigger machine had the hand that looked like it was holding the yo-yo. It's just if you do have it like this in order to take the shield back out, you do have to use the dial to let the mechanism go again. But that's fine. So if I can bring it up properly. But that's Lupinranger Knight, and it looks really cool, and I like it a lot. Now, before, that's pretty much all there is for that, but before I go, I do want to show off a little bit of a bonus thing. You see, when I bought this, there was a promotion going on, a giveaway campaign to anyone who bought a deluxe, deluxe VS vehicle entry. And I did get that as well when I first bought my... like all of my other vehicles, when the ones I got, and no, it was the first batch of them when I got Good Striker and like the main dial fighters and trigger machines. I got a special Patranger badge that I could put into a VS changer if I had one. But this time around, they actually gave a new dial fighter out as well. This is the Hammer dial fighter, and this was only available through the giveaway campaign. So I think it's over now. It depends. I think there may be some retailers that have the campaign still going on. It was kind of a while supplies last sort of thing. But if this looks a bit familiar to you, it is because it's basically a remold of the blade. All you gotta do is they just lopped off the wings, like even the black wings here. Replaced these silver wings with these like obvious hammer, but also sort of thruster wing looking things. Painted the whole thing orange and gave it a gold dial. And I very much approve of this. I think this looks pretty cool. I mean, you can even look, see it's got kind of thrusters on the back of the, molded onto the back of the hammer bits. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because orange is my favorite color, but I also like the gold-colored dial on the back. And this actually did appear in the show as well, in episode 11, I believe. The monster, due to how it works, temporarily turned the blade dial fighter into the hammer dial fighter, but they were still able to use it to defeat him, and then it turned back. But yeah, there's an attack mode with it, obviously. I should also point out here, you can also attach, if you feel so inclined, you can attach into the scissor dial fighter, and it'll work just fine. But regardless, let's attach that back on there. Sorry about that. The attack mode is very much the same as the blades. Just swing the wings forward, and it makes a hammer. And this will just go into the fist here as well. And you've got still Lupin Kaiser Knight, but with a hammer instead of a sword. And I'll be honest, this is usually how I have him displayed nowadays, because I like the hammer so much. I just think it was nice to get a free thing like that, and yeah, and if you really need a place to store this, you can just kind of store this on the shield if you want to. I don't. I just kind of have this, sitting with some of the other unused components, but that's still really neat. So, yeah, unfortunately, the hammer isn't really available anymore. But if you like the scissors and blade, I definitely recommend picking them up. And just as an aside, I came upon a revelation as I was, thinking of what to say about this, and I found it really is kind of a blessing in disguise that you can get all of these components separately. At first, I thought it was kind of a weird thing that they were doing, just kind of a stupid idea. I mean, why make them separate when you can just get the, because they also have the robot packs. But what if you, let's say you like Lupin Kaiser Knight, but don't particularly like the regular Lupin Kaiser combination? What if you like the sword and shield, but there's something wrong with you and you don't like a buzzsaw arm as well? Well, you can always just buy the good striker, the red dial fighter, the blue dial fighter, and the scissor and blade dial fighter separately, not even bother with the yellow one, and you don't have any components lying around that you don't want. That's actually pretty cool. If I know that wasn't necessarily the intention, but you count your blessings where you can find them. So I think it's kind of a cool thing. I've still been still getting all of these, but yeah. In short, definitely pick up the blade and scissors. I'd highly recommend them. And if you can find the hammer at a reasonable price, I don't know if these are jacked up on eBay or something like that, jacked up prices on eBay, but get this if you can find one, or if you know of a retailer that still has some of these in stock and can still give them away with your purchase. That's ideal too. But yeah, so next time we look at the Lupinranger versus Patranger, I think it's the Magic Dial Fighter. I could be wrong, but I do definitely know the next trigger machine is the Crane. And we'll be taking a look at those two after they're out, probably for a month, because that's how I do things around here. But until then, I've been Rado Goji, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?